what would happen to your business if you had an unexpected trip to accident and emergency? Yeah, that was my story last week. So if you saw my post earlier in the week, last week I had a trip to accident and emergency A&E for a little health issue. And then I had a couple of doctor's appointment follow-up the next couple of days, etc., which meant that I wasn't able to be in my business as I normally would be. As it turns out, the pain relief that they gave me for the issue I was having was perhaps a bigger issue than the actual health reason itself. I was practically out of it for about 3 days. My family have never been so excited to have me so quiet. But it gave me a really strong reminder about preparing my business and preparing your businesses for unexpected absences. So the sort of things we're talking about here is, unexpected illness. It might be that you suddenly don't have childcare for the kids. Something that pulls you away from your business, perhaps for a week, but, I'm not talking ongoing issues in the sense of, months of illness or something like that, but something that pops up that's totally unexpected, that takes you out of the business for maybe a week or a few days. And I wanted to share with you 3 simple tips that you could follow and implement really easily in your business to make the absence less noticeable, make it a more smooth experience and good experience for your clients. Because if you're out of your business and unable to serve them as you normally would, you don't want the disruption to impact them too negatively, and you can do things to minimize that damage. So the first tip that I wanted to suggest is to make sure that you batch create and batch schedule your content. So what do I mean by this? When we plan out our business, our calendar, perhaps it's a 90-day year or 12 months, whichever you work with, you're going to have an idea of what upcoming promotional focuses that you're going to have. And knowing that, you're able to plan content in advance. So, for example, if you've heard of Denise Duffield-Thomas of Lucky Bitch, Denise uses quite evergreen topics, which means they don't go out of date. And so every year, she now creates all her content, all her videos for the entire year over the space of a few days. She batch creates. That said, you mightn't be able to do it for the full year, but you could do it perhaps for a month in advance. And having that content created and then scheduling that means that if something unexpected, heaven forbid, comes up, then you can, your business can operate quite smoothly and your visibility remains, even though you might not be at the computer right at that moment. So for myself, for my own business, I use Buffer App. I find it a great tool and really easy to use to schedule my content in advance. I'm also checking out RecurPost at the moment. RecurPost is similar to Meet Edgar, if you've heard of that. Meet Edgar allows you to create a content library that goes out consistently. It repeats over and over and automatically posts for you. But a lot of people were put off because Meet Edgar is quite an expensive option. And they're now checking out RecurPost that's less expensive but has the same functionality. So there are a couple of tools that you might like to try out in terms of scheduling your content in advance and keeping it visible, because it is so important to be consistent in our visibility and ever growing it so that we can continue to grow our businesses, continue to generate leads, even if we're not available at a particular point in time, even if we're kept out of the business for, say, a week. We're not able to work on it as we normally would. So that's the first tip. Batch create and schedule your content. The second and third tips I'm going to talk about require something in advance before you can actually implement them. So with these particular tips, you need someone that you trust, that you are able to basically delegate some tasks to if a situation was to arise. So in this case, it might be a family member, it might be a friend, it could be a virtual assistant if you haven't got someone that has the knowledge around your business or the tech ability to step in for you. My family are beautiful, but they're not tech oriented. So asking them to do these tips, implement these tips that I'm going to talk about wouldn't work. But I have got a great friend who I swap with. So if something was to happen and she wasn't able to be in her business for a week, then I could do this for her and she would do the same for me. And I very much trust her. It's very important that you have a trusting relationship with this person. The other aspect of it is to get really clear and set really clear expectations. So based on what we're going to talk about in the second and third tip, what do you expect them to do, when to do it, and in what situation? And that's going to make more sense in a minute. So the second tip is to actually create an autoresponder or a canned email and social media updates that someone else can post for you and set up for you if you're taken out of your business and there's going to be an extended absence. So what do I mean by that? It could be that if you're a Gmail user, my business emails come through Gmail, you can set up a canned response that gets turned on if I'm going to be away. So it needs to talk about, this is the situation. Obviously, the level of detail is up to you. You may want to keep it quite generic for privacy, but this is the situation. Here's my expected return date. So here's when I hope to get back into the business. And also, in case of emergency, here's a backup plan. If something is going dramatically out of order with the client and they need some help immediately, here's who to contact. So putting all that in an autoresponder or a canned email means that all the person that's helping you has to do is switch it on, and then anyone who's emailing you knows exactly what's happening and has clear expectations and clear understanding of when they can expect a response from you. It's good customer service, making sure that you communicate that with them. The same with social media. If you're having an extended absence for some reason and you need to let people know about it, again, if you've got them pre-written, your assistant, your family member, your friend can post them for you. Now, I will say that this is where the expectations and communicating this in advance is really important. For example, if you're only going to be out of action for a couple of days, you might just want the autoresponder switched on, but leave the notifications off social media because you're going to be back before there's a real issue there, and people don't need to be notified on social media. But they do on the emails because people expect a response, within 24, 48 hours. So making it clear at what point do either of those steps come into action is really important. Okay, and the third tip to tide your business over and make sure that your clients still have a good experience with you if you're out of action for some reason is to make sure that you have a spreadsheet that's kept up to date with all your clients and their contact details, and that the person that's assisting you has access to that and your calendar, so that if you're unable to fulfill your sessions, particularly if you're a service-based business, so for example, with my one-on-one clients, I needed to be able to make sure they knew that I wouldn't be able to do my sessions last week. Honestly, I was too out of it on the endone. But really important, shout out to Kate and Marion that were really understanding that I let them know, or the person assisting me lets them know, so that A, they know what's going on, B, they don't show up to the session or whatever arrangement you have with them expecting you to be there and you're not, so that you've wasted their time, but also that usually most people, if you give them advance warning and just give them a little bit of an explanation, not full details, but a bit of an explanation as to why you're unavailable and why postponing will actually be of benefit to them, they're very understanding. People are very reasonable if they know what's going on. If you aren't able to let them know, or you haven't got someone in place to let them know, that's when the issues arise. Of course, depending on how difficult or intense the situation is, that would impact on, how able you are. But this is, things that you can put in place that will overcome most issues if you're suddenly out of your business. And so the very last thing I want to leave you with is, although they are 3 steps that are, tech-based, communication-based, to help have a smooth experience and not too much disruption to your business if you're suddenly taken out of it, the other side we need to look at is prevention. We want to avoid the situations in the first place, particularly if it comes down to ill health, which was the situation I faced last week. So, speaking of Denise Duffield-Thomas as our example for batching, Denise actually put out a really awesome blog post this week all about steps to self-care, because it is something, especially female entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs in general, we have a real tendency to neglect self-care. So she's got some great ideas on what to do there and how to make sure that you do take care of yourself so that your business can grow and prosper. So I hope you found that really helpful. I've put the link to Denise's blog post in the comments. If you have any questions, if you're watching the replay, be sure to let me know. I always check back and love hearing from you. If I can help you, I want to know about it. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.